Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to all the wonderful devotees of ISKCON, Nepal and all around. We will read today from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 18, Text 9. This is the section where Prahlad Maharaj is offering prayers to Lord Nrsingadev. And the verse goes, I already completed the prayers, but let me say. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् शुश्रूषोश्रदधानस्य वासुदेवाकधारुचि स्यान्महत्सेवया विप्रा पुण्यतीर्थानि सेवनात् शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृदयन्तस्थो ह्यभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सताम् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी तदा रजस्तमो भावा कामलोभादयश्च ये चेत एतैरनाविद्धं स्थितं सत्त्वे प्रसीदति एवं प्रसन्नमनसो भगवद्भक्तियोगतः भगवत्तत्त्वविज्ञानं मुक्तसङ्गस्य जायते भिद्यते हृदयग्रन्थिश्छिद्यन्ते सर्वसंशया क्रियन्ते सर्वकर्माणि दृष्ट एवात्मनीश्वरे ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. This is Srimad Bhagavatam 5:18-9. Swastyastu vishwasya khala prasidataam dhyayantu bhutani shivam mitho dhiya manascha bhadram bhajata dadokshaje aveshyatam no matirapya haituki. Swastyastu vishwasya khala prasidataam ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया मनश्च भद्रं भजता दधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहैतुकी. Word to word meaning. Swasti, auspiciousness. Astu, let there be. Vishwasya, of the entire universe. Khala, the envious, almost everyone. Prasidatam, let them be pacified. Dhyayantu, let them consider. Bhutani, all the living entities. Shivam, auspiciousness. Mitaha, mutual. Dhiya, by their intelligence. Manaha, the mind. Cha, and Bhadram, calmness. Bhajatat, let it experience. Adhokshaje, in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's beyond the perception of mind, intelligence, and senses. Aveshyatam, let it be absorbed. Na, our. Matihi, intelligence. Api, indeed. Ahaituki, without any motive. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. May there be good fortune throughout the universe, and may all envious persons be pacified. May all living entities become calm by practicing Bhakti Yoga, for by accepting devotional service, they will think of each other's welfare. Therefore, let us all engage in the service of the Supreme Transcendence, Lord Shri Krishna, and always remain absorbed. Let me share my screen. The translation one more time. May there be good fortune throughout the universe, and may all envious persons be pacified. May all living entities become calm by practicing bhakti yoga. For by accepting devotional service, they will think of each other's welfare. Therefore, let us all engage in the service of the Supreme Transcendent Lord Shri Krishna and always remain absorbed in thought of Him. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. So this verse, as we can see the translation, very, very beautiful verse. Not just here, Prahlad Maharaj is not just asking for the welfare of just the devotees themselves. He is saying Vishwasya, throughout the universe let there be good fortune, and how each person will be so happy by thinking of each other's welfare. He's talking about every living entity in the entire universe. It's not just my friends, my family, or just the devotees of ISKCON, or only who's practicing Krishna consciousness. He is not restricting for any of that. This is the beauty of the Vaishnava, as Prabhupada elicits beautifully in this purport. This is very, very inspiring and amazing verse. Actually, Jahnavi Harrison Mathaji, she has this very beautiful album. Just she sings this verse with Hari Om in between. Very, very beautiful. I'm sure most of you would have heard it. It just touches the heart very deeply, just the Sanskrit itself. Swasti astu vishwasya khala prasidatam dhyayantu bhutani shivam mithodhiya manasya bhadram bhajatad adhokshaje aveshyatam no matir api ahaituki. If you see that swasti is auspiciousness in the first line, and then prasidatam is pacified. Again, in the second line, shivam is again auspiciousness. And then in the third line, bhadram, calmness. And if we see, these are all the things that we aspire for, though we may want money and we may want this, that, whatever. But ultimately, we want to experience that happiness. We want to experience that satisfaction. We want to experience that calmness and serene life, because that is what actually gives one the sense of connection to our inner self. So that's what we are always looking for. And here Prahlad Maharaj very beautifully praying to Lord Nrsingadev to award this for everyone. May there be good fortune throughout the universe, and may all envious persons be pacified. We can just take just a moment and just contemplate on just this one statement. Good fortune throughout the universe, and all envious persons be pacified. We can only see, I mean, if we close our eyes, we can only see like all beautiful smiling faces around. And, everyone is so joyful because of their own good fortune, and also no envy for others. So naturally, they're all like happy thinking of each other. And then naturally, what happens is they will think of each other's welfare. And how it can happen? Prahlad Maharaj is not just asking Lord Nrsingadev, oh, please give this. Of course, the Lord, if he wants, he can actually give that. But he's not just saying, okay, you give. How we can achieve that? May all living entities become calm by practicing bhakti yoga. For by accepting devotional service, they will think of each other's welfare. So this is actually the key. How we can become calm, how we can become pacified, how we can become happy is not by thinking ill of others, by thinking of others' well-being. And how that can happen? By accepting devotional service, by practicing bhakti yoga. That is what can actually help us overcome this material pettiness and all sorts of things. And when that happens, engage in the service of supreme transcendence like Sri Krishna, we can always be absorbed in thoughts of him. So we can actually experience the beautiful description of the spiritual world that's given in Canto 3, very beautiful, nice section. We can actually experience while we are here. So Prabhupada writes a very beautiful purport to this. The following verse describes a Vaishnava. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Just like a desire tree, a Vaishnava can fulfill all the desires of anyone who takes shelter of his lotus feet. Prahlad Maharaj is a typical Vaishnava. He prays not for himself, but for all living entities, the gentle, the envious, and the mischievous. He always thought of the welfare of mischievous persons, like his father Hiranyakashipu. Prahlad Maharaj did not ask for anything for himself. Rather, he prayed for the Lord to excuse his demoniac father. This is the attitude of a Vaishnava who always thinks of the welfare of the entire universe. As I was reading this purport this morning, I just got to know last night that I'm doing this discussion. So I was thinking which verse, and just somehow Jahnavi Harrison Mataji's beautiful singing came to mind, and I said, okay, why not? And when I was reading this purport, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha, I keep saying this prayer like every morning when I'm offering obeisances at the altar. I think of all the devotees who are helping me in this my journey of devotional life, and praying, expressing my gratitude for all that they're giving. And then I also think of all the devotees who I may be committing offenses knowingly, unknowingly, sometimes intentionally because of my envy or offensive tendencies. I pray to them in my heart, seeking their forgiveness, and somehow today let my heart change a little bit and think positively and serve them in some way. But what it came this morning as I was reading this purport is, I'm always thinking of Vaishnavas as the others who are supposed to be like desire trees and fulfill all the desires of me and somehow be merciful to me, forgive me, and please think of me nicely and pray for me, all that was going on. And what just struck for me was trying to practice bhakti yoga. I'm also trying to be a Vaishnava, and I also need to imbibe this mode. Being all this for somebody else, being that like a desire tree for someone else, and praying for them and offering my, I don't have any capacity to give the blessings, but at least the well wishes and pray for them. That just somehow was very, very powerful for me. Oftentimes my mind says, I'm not a devotee, I'm not a devotee. I said, it doesn't matter whether I'm a devotee or not, but it doesn't take anything for us to pray for someone or to wish well for somebody. It could be the near and dear or loving ones, the devotees who are close, family members, or it could be anyone like, totally out there, just somebody showing a little kind gesture, or someone like really touching your heart on the road or wherever. I'm actually thinking of this mood, how we can imbibe that and really pray for them, like at the book table or whoever, just coming and saying, oh, thank you, but I'm good. I can't, I don't need the book now. And typically the mind goes, oh, what's the problem there? They have money and they can take whatever, so many thoughts. But instead, if I can imbibe this mood and say, oh, my dear Krishna, my dear Radha Shyam Sundar, uh, this is the person, at least stopped at this book and hold the book, or not even hold the book, just had a nice word, or not even a nice word. They were just going, I'm good, and just going. Please help them somehow appreciate you and appreciate your presence in their life, and let them turn to you, and somehow or other let that connection begin in a explicit way. I mean, Krishna is always there in their heart, but for them to recognize Krishna's presence and appreciate and move in that direction. Just that mood, just that prayer. We don't know what the power of prayer. We may not be very powerful. We may not have the capacity, but Krishna has. And when we pray like that, and I mean, I have so many experiences with Radha Shamsun that just offering a simple prayer, not even like super sincerely begging or something, just simple, my dear Radhesham, please grant this for this devotee. They're like, sincerely endeavoring. Please kindly be merciful and, show your grace and be with them. And very magically, like I have seen things manifesting both for myself and for others. So, my dear devotees, just praying for myself to imbibe this mood. And I'm also praying whoever is on the call hearing, and also whoever may be hearing later, please imbibe this mood. And I'm thinking here, Prahlad Maharaj is saying, for everyone out there in the whole Vishwasya, but I'm thinking we may need these prayers and well wishes so much more for all of us here in Naperville Temple who are practicing devotional service. Some of us may be a little advanced, but most of us, like me, are, have the desire to become sincere, become serious, become, practice more purely, but are struggling with so many things. So we need those prayers, we need those well wishes. And who else can help each other? So I'm thinking we can think of one devotee and offer a prayer, like for maybe one day or 1 week, every day, like thinking of some nice quality of that devotee and offer some prayer for them. uh, Actually, we had this exercise for Bhakti Shastri. Actually, think of someone whom we are having a difficulty with, like, some kind of not a nice frequency. Somehow the heart is not, very open when we are in that devotees association. So think of such a devotee and pray for them, and think of one nice quality of them. And very amazingly, magically, the heart opens up just by meditating on their positive qualities and also praying for them. The heart opens so much, and that devotee definitely gets benefited. But more than that devotee, we will be benefited immensely. One thing, our heart is becoming open and becoming free of that envy. Second thing, we are very absorbedly, very focusedly connecting to Krishna and praying for someone else, not for our selfish motives. So it's a very magical thing. Anyway, that's just about this prayer. Uh, uh, Lakshmikanta Prabhu asked me to just read the verse, but this purport is so beautiful. I'm just like, wanting to tell these things to myself. Continuing, Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Dharma are meant for persons who are completely free of envy, Parama Nirmatsaranam. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj prays in this verse, Kala Prasidatam. May all the envious persons be pacified. The material world is full of envious persons, but if one frees himself of envy, he becomes liberal in his social dealings and can think of others' welfare. Anyone who takes up Krishna consciousness and engages himself completely in the service of the Lord cleanses his mind of all envy. Manascha bhadram bhajatad adhokshaje. Therefore, we should pray to Lord Nrsingadev to sit in our hearts. We should pray Bahir Nrsingo Hridaye Nrsinga. Let Lord Nrsingadev sit in the core of my heart, killing all my bad propensities. Let my mind become clean so that I may peacefully worship the Lord and bring peace to the entire world. And this envy, we were having some of the discussions in recent visit of His Holiness Rampa Swami Maharaj, how envy can destroy all the good qualities, envy and pride Maharaj is talking about. But on the other hand, if we pray and think of others' well-being in a very conscious way, of course, in the beginning, it's hard. When we have envy in the heart, it's hard to think of complete well-being of others. But if we think of the gopis example, right, like that's what the pinnacle of non-enviousness and complete selflessness. How are they free of envy? Because their focus, their center is on Krishna's pleasure. And envy comes when I'm at the center, like either I want it or why others have it, I don't have it, or I have it, others don't have it. That's when this envy comes. But when we try to step ourselves little aside, we don't have to completely take ourselves away from the picture, but just keep ourselves little away and keep Krishna and Guru Maharaj and the devotees in the center, then naturally we don't have much in that. Then it's so much easier to think of others' well-being and want others to succeed. Like we may be doing some service and others are doing some other service. If we also have some part, some recognition, something, we may not be fully able to wish well and success for the other devotee. But if we are completely away from that service, we don't have anything, it may be a little bit easier. Oh, this devotee is so nicely serving. Let them do this service so nicely. So if we somehow think of each of us, we hear this, each of us have our unique service and our unique relationship with Krishna. And it's not that, the other devotee succeeds or other devotee does more service or become advanced, we will lose our place. We all have the opportunity. And what's more beautiful is if our peers become more advanced, just by hanging around with them, we also get the opportunity. We also, their enthusiasm or their inspiration will rub onto us, and that can actually help us. So it's actually a win-win situation by thinking well for others and praying for them. We are also getting benefited in multifold ways. So that is something, we can actually cultivate, and we can see how this is such a crucial thing, becoming free from enviousness for cordial and very loving relationships with the devotees. Because devotee association, as we hear, is the key aspect right from our beginning of Krishna consciousness until the perfection, until we go back to Godhead. And it continues. We serve in the association, we serve the devotees who are serving the, Gopi, Bhartru, Dasa, Anudasa. Like we are serving the servants of the servants of the servants. So this devotee association is so, so, so important and critical. And if we want to associate with the devotees, better it be with that mood of, love and gratitude and, thinking well for each other. And then naturally it becomes so joyful to be in that association. So we can consciously cultivate this mood of one way, thinking well for others and praying for them, and also consciously pray for ourselves to the Lord to remove this propensity of being envious to others and all these offensive tendencies. So that way, the Lord can help us, and also seeing our conscious efforts, naturally the heart becomes more and more cleansed. And that can also help us chant and hear in a much purer consciousness, in which state the holy name can act much better way. It's the multifold way of the purification and the benefit is so amazing. Continuing, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura has given us a very fine purport in this regard. Whenever one offers a prayer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one always requests some benediction from him. Even pure devotees, Nishkama Bhaktas, pray for some benediction as instructed by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Sikshastaka. Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavambuddha. Kripaya tava pada pankaja stitaduli sadrisham vichintaya. O son of Maharaj Ananda, Krishna, I'm your eternal servant. Yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from the ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. In other prayer, Lord Chaitanya says, Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavatat Bhaktir Ahaituki Tvayi. Life after life, kindly let me have unalloyed love and devotion at your Lordship's lotus feet. When Prahlad Maharaja chants Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya, he prays for a benediction from the Lord. But because he is also an exalted Vaishnava, he wants nothing for his personal sense gratification. The first desire expressed in his prayer is Swasti Astu Vishwasya. Let there be good fortune throughout the entire universe. Prahlad Maharaja thus requested the Lord to be merciful to everyone, including his own father, a most envious person. According to Chanakya Pandita, there are two kinds of envious living entities. One is a snake, and the other is a man like Hiranyakashipu, who is by nature envious of everyone, even of his father or son. Hiranyakashipu was envious of his little son Prahlad, but Prahlad Maharaj asked a benediction for the benefit of his father. Hiranyakashipu was very envious of devotees, but Prahlad wished that his father and other demons like him would give up their envious nature by the grace of the Lord and stop harassing the devotees. Khala prasidatam. The difficulty is that khala, envious living entity, is rarely pacified. One kind of khala, the snake, can be pacified simply by mantras or by the action of a particular herb. Mantra Aushadhi Varsha Mantra Aushadhi Vashaha Sarpa Khalakena Nivaryate. An envious person, however, cannot be pacified by any means. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj prays that all envious persons may undergo a change of heart and think of the welfare of others. This is the beautiful thing. Even a snake can be pacified by the mantras or some other herbs, but an envious person cannot be pacified unless a very deep transformation of the heart happens. And how that can happen? It can happen when they're touched by the Lord or the other person's actions. And that is how, Prabhupada says this when there are envious people. You pray for them, you give them prasad. It's not by arguing or making them, less than us or something. They're not going to be touched by that. The best way to give Krishna consciousness to them is being favorable to them. Here we are seeing such a beautiful example of Prahlad Maharaj, and same mood is displayed by Haridas Thakur, the people who are beating him like anything in 21 marketplaces. He was praying for them. He was praying for their benefit. I mean, that's just like beyond our imagination. And Jayadev Goswami, similar. The thieves who have actually put him in the well, he was praying well for them, and he wanted the king to give more, mula or like the wealth to those people, because he says, they have beat me and put me into the dark well and was stealing all the money that I have gathered for the Lordship's festival because they're poor. That is the reason they're doing that. And when we give more money, they don't have to steal and they will be free from that kind of stealing and murderers and whatnot. I mean, that's like unimaginable for people like, I mean, at least me. But we can see all this beautiful example of these Vaishnavas, how they can go so far, and obviously that can touch the other people's heart, and that is the way the heart transformation can happen. And of course, the Lord is praying to the Lord, because Lord residing within one's heart, Lord can inspire these people, and He can change their heart. So those are the only way that envious person can be pacified. If the Krishna consciousness movement spreads all over the world, and if by the grace of Krishna everyone accepts it, the thinking of envious people will change. Everyone will think of the welfare of others. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj prays, Shivam Mithodhiya. In material activities, everyone is envious of others. But in Krishna consciousness, no one is envious of anyone else. Everyone thinks of the welfare of others. How beautiful, right? If we, I mean, of course, in one sense, we are in Krishna consciousness, but in other sense, we are all trying to practice that pure Krishna consciousness. So we may have, some may have little envy, some may have more envy, but we have these tendencies. But if we imagine, as we were discussing at the beginning, how if each of us, the devotees around us, think of the welfare of each other, and by the power of those prayers around us, our heart becomes pure, and thus we can also think of well for others. I mean, it's just like feels like a spiritual world, very beautiful. So much love and so much appreciation for each other and gratitude for each other. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj prays that everyone's mind may become gentle by being fixed at the lotus feet of Krishna, Bhajatad Adhokshaje, as indicated elsewhere in Srimad Bhagavatam, Savai Manah Krishna Padara Vindayo, and as advised by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita 1865, Manmana Bhava Madbhakta, one should constantly think of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Then one's mind will certainly be cleansed. Cheto Darpanamajanam. Materialists always think of sense gratification, but Prahlad Maharaj prays that the Lord's mercy will change their minds, and they will stop thinking of sense gratification. If they think of Krishna always, everything will be all right. Some people argue that if everyone thought of Krishna in that way, the whole universe would be vacated, because everyone would go back home, back to Godhead. However, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura says that this is impossible, because the living entities are innumerable. If one set of living entities is actually delivered by the Krishna consciousness movement, another set will fill the entire universe. So that completes the purport. I'll read the translation and the verse one more time, and then we can see if we have any discussion. May there be good fortune throughout the universe, and may all envious persons be pacified. May all living entities become calm by practicing bhakti yoga, for by accepting devotional service, they will think of each other's welfare. Therefore, let's all engage in the service of the Supreme Transcendence, Lord Sri Krishna, and always remain absorbed in thought of Him. Probably we can, those of us who are inspired, this is one of my most favorite verse, and I keep thinking of this verse. And just by thinking of this verse and by hearing Jahnavi Harrison Mataji's that beautiful album, just somehow the heart becomes so joyful and naturally thinks of others' welfare. Swastyastu Vishwasya Kala Prasidatam Dhyayantu Bhutani Shivam Mithodhiya Manasya Bhadram Bhajatadadokshaje Aveshatam no Matiravyahaituki Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om. Okay, thank you so much. for giving me this opportunity, Lakshmikant Prabhu. I haven't prepared, but somehow this beautiful verse and by Lord Nrsingadev and Prahlad Maharaj's mercy, hope I'm able to share something, and I'm praying that it touches my heart deeply to think of the welfare of all the wonderful God brothers and God sisters around me who have been praying so much for me that I'm continuing in Krishna consciousness despite all my whatever stuff in the heart. And I'm praying that my heart also be ready and willing to pray for the other devotees in the same mood. Thank you so much. Anyone have any thoughts, sharings, inspirations, comments, corrections? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Amrita-Keli, Mathaji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for such a wonderful class. And it's such a wonderful verse you are speaking about. I could, when I was hearing you, I could see my own evolution through so many years. And it's always a lot of, it's mental purification, and that takes you to that true Vaishnava, status, where you are become a well-wisher of every living entity, and pray for those who are envious to be pacified somehow. That is a very very advanced stage of evolution. As I myself have told you, please pray for me. It is never, it's never, it's that opening of the heart. There is always room to open more and more, you feel, and that is, Prahlad's, this verse is extremely, extremely educative for all those who are on the path of, Krishna consciousness. And Srila Prabhupada, of course, is giving the most advanced interpretation and purport. And you have given a very nice class. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mataji. My obeisances too. And I can only say, as you're saying the Vaishnava's prayers, I'm remembering from this Nectar of Devotion, we hear our advancement is actually because of the kind Vaishnava's glances and prayers. So I can say, being such a sweet and loving mother to myself and all the devotees here, you have been praying for us, you have been giving your glances, so we are somehow or other, our heart is also being touched, and we want to extend the same love and compassion to others too. Thank you, Mataji.
On the other hand, as you said initially, when you say that prayer, Vancha Kalpatarupyacha, it's always the others. It never occurs to you that
I know, right?
It never occurs to me.
Dear devotees, please be merciful, please be kind.
It's always the others, it's always others. It's never me included in that list. That was amazing. Hare Krishna. You focused on that point. Thank you. It's
Thank
amazing.
You,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you so much for reading this verse today and sharing. So, even thinking the well-being of others, I was trying to see Mataji, even at superficial level, it's very difficult to do. So it's not very easy. That is my experience felt. So this morning, actually, when you were sharing about everyone's well-being or everyone become a devotee, I was watching this Mayapur Mangala Arati. It was complete full. Yesterday, in Bhadra Purnima, how they did, I was thinking. I was watching, it was completely full, whole, all three sides, right? All three altars full, actually, it was. So I was thinking, how our temple will become someday like this, or how everything will be like this. It was completely jam-packed, Mangala Arati. right? So I mean, there's no space to move. People, I mean, they were taking the camera very close up everywhere, all the sides, right? Different views.
Mhm.
It was so nice. I was thinking, but yeah, I mean, it is very difficult. I mean, from my earlier point, Mataji. So I was thinking, it's very hard to think about the well-being of others, especially in a challenging situations, right? So if Prahlad Maharaj is saying, I mean, how he did it to his father. I mean, it is really, I mean, as Sandhya Mataji was saying, very, very, very advanced stage. So I mean, it's it's really very difficult. I don't want to say impossible, but yeah. So it is. I mean, for a person like me, maybe it's like that, but yeah, but it's very difficult or very advanced stage. So where Prahlad Maharaj is trying to teach us, it's very nice thing. So
Thank you for sharing that, Prabhu. And who knows, by your desire and by that intention, our temple will become like that. And we have just witnessed that amazing, amazing example last night, just by that sincere desire of one devotee and probably the prayers of so many other devotees. I mean, directly involved, indirectly involved. uh, I mean, it's unimaginable. Like for our congregation, I still remember in 2013 where Vamshidhari Prabhu was the only person. And I don't remember Vamshidhari Prabhu is on the call. I don't know, maybe like 20 sets or something for the first Bhadra Purnima. I don't remember, maybe 80 or 20, something very small. So it was such a faith building for me yesterday, just witnessing. Of course, I'm not saying challenges are not there, or I mean, goal setting, all that is different. But once the devotee sincerely desires and everyone prays for that, how the Lord and everything manifests in such a way to make that happen. So who knows? By your desire, one day we will have our ISKCON Nepal filled for Mangalarti. Thank you, Prabhu.
Uh, I just want to add, I felt it was a miracle that 400 sets,
It
my
is.
Krishna.
It is.
It is a
It is.
miracle,
It is, Mataji. Yes.
I could never think that it will hit that. And you, Krishna, it's really a miracle. Vanshidhari Prabhu is here. I don't know what he is feeling. Hare Krishna for bringing that up. I myself, I can't take it. It is so possible.
I was thinking it is a dream, Mataji. Yesterday morning,
Yes.
160 are there. I thought maybe a 60 will go, we'll make 300, so it's 400.
Mhm.
It's a miracle that we have lived.
Yeah. Prabhu can share something, his experience in going through this, reaching the goal.
Prabhu can probably write a whole book about the
Hare,
experience.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances. Uh, I mean, the situation is like has been like being put in fire, so it is not come out yet. But a small sharing in relation to the discussion today. I was appreciating or learning what is cooperation means. And the cooperation means is that Prabhupada was explaining, when the food is being served by the hand, fingers don't think that I will eat the food, but yeah, it's from the introduction of Bhagavad Gita. So when fingers just feed to the central body Krishna, then the situation will be happy like that. So I was remembering that when we are I just joined late. I didn't join in the beginning, but that's what I was remembering. Mm.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for being at the court to for all of us to come together and experience that cooperation. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, if anything happened, I'm thinking. I mean, even I myself was not sure. Every plan was, the coming to a halt. It kind of like when I get the plan, I see some hope, but it was like a bounce back. all the plans are bounced back. So, it happened. So it is not within any small living entity's capacity, except Srila Prabhupada's capacity. Okay. Thank you all. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. So 8:20. Anyone else have any other thoughts, inspirations?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Pranam.
Please accept my humble obeisance to Prabhu.
Mataji, I have few maybe questions or comments. When you explained about Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu, we say that he is envious. On what context he is envious? Because I haven't read in Prabhupada translations of words that he is envious of his son. So I'm curious in what context he is envious, or he is just angry at his son. Because there is a difference between enviousness and upsetting and getting angry. Do you have any references, Mataji?
I don't know, Prabhu. Frankly speaking, I mean, all of you are more well read than me. But one thing that's coming to me as you're asking, yes, we can see the display of anger, but what's behind that anger? Envy is, I mean, it may not be said out loud, but many places actually, Prabhupada does quote this. I don't know, in 7th canto in particular, I haven't read it yet, like in a systematic way. But Prabhupada does quote this, like Hiranyakashipu and Kamsa. We can see in this particular case, he is seeing that he thought, I'm the most powerful and I'm in full control. But when someone is not obeying, when he feels that someone has something that he doesn't have, or what he has is not being valued enough as much as he thought it was. So that's what is making me think envious.
Yeah, he is obviously envious of the Lord. That it was mentioned.
Yes.
Because he was so upset that his brother was killed and Vishnu is more powerful than him. That's why he goes and do all these kinds of austerities. As a father, you just take any context. A father and a son goes in a different path than a father believes. Father is not envious of a son. Father is upset with the son because he's not following what he thought it is right.
But he tried to kill him.
Exactly. So if he's upset, he'll try to, change him or something. Yeah, go ahead.
See the same thing. You will see the same thing in this world. When the son is in completely different direction than father or parent, whether there are situations parent kill the son.
No.
Because he did not believe what he did is right.
No, most of the times the saying is, kaki pilla kaki ki moddu.
Exactly.
So most of the times it was not to that extreme. But the Kali Yuga symptom is also that it's going to come to that extreme that people kill their own children. So that is really gross. But most of the times it is not like that.
No,
we can
actually,
see in different places also in Bhagavatam that the kid is going in a different direction, his son, than what father believed. Either father left the kingdom, or in this case, father tried to kill the son. So in both ways we can see. In case of Anga, he just left Veena. This guy is useless. He's not doing what I'm told you to do. So
but
he don't have any power to deal with him. So he left. Here, Hiranyakashipu, as a father figure, he has some power. Try to see what he can do.
Anga do has a power. Anga do have a power. He is not like Ugrasena who was captured and he doesn't have power.
No.
Anga was still a
No,
king. When,
yeah. He
No.
thinks that this guy is not worth to even to deal with him. So because he has a knowledge, then he left. If you take the devotion part out, because the context of bhakti or the supreme comes into picture. Yes, these are all valid, but when you see context of duality, because this happened in the material world, as a father, what he did makes sense for him, but for people standing outside and seeing what is reality may not be right. But as a father, you see his kin and kith doing different than what he believes. A simple example, right? We follow Krishna consciousness, and when our friends and family doesn't follow, either we stop talking to them. If we have power, we try to convert them. We try all kinds of stuff in good way, because this is
here is a but, Prabhu. So people are way opposite, but Krishna was never leaving.
Krishna did not. I'm not talking about Krishna. Krishna did not leave even Hiranyakashipu. He petted him. He actually put him in his lap. That is even better than we keeping Krishna's name every day. I rather be like, they wanted to be envious people, fight with Krishna, 3 lives, done deal. I can't even imagine how they choose it. But, that's unfortunate. So Krishna is always, there is no question, doubt. Krishna is always equal to everybody. But when we label, or when we say, I think the context should be because he is envious or angry, what he is following is not Krishna consciousness, or he's not aligned with what Supreme Lord rules and regulations.
Exactly.
I think that context is missing whenever we say he's envious or what basis. Because I have asked so many people this question, not exactly way, but they're saying, what's wrong in that? A father telling a son, do the right thing, what he believes. When you see, there is nothing wrong. But as long as you add the context, then it makes sense.
Exactly. It's an
Prabhu.
interesting definition for envy. Basically, you're not Krishna conscious and you're envy. So
I'm just digging in because this is Bhagavad. not to challenge anybody. Please don't.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. We need to log off. We have Bhakti Vaibhava class in 2 minutes. I need to share the slides there. Thank you so much. If you want, you can continue. I can log off. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for everyone. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Pancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. Have a very wonderful Krishna conscious day.